So I finally decided to explain how to beat Chibi Zam Scam in like this technical explanation because I've known this for over a year now at this point. I do it to Zam a lot, and I feel like not enough people really understand what's going on during a Chibi Zam Scam and how to like actually beat it. Because there's a lot of counterplay to this, and to be brutally honest, Zam Scam's not even that good. It's just kind of risky, and this is going to be a hopefully brief and easy to understand explanation of what exactly is happening during the Zam scam. So right here I have the emulator window with BizHawk with the Lua script, the Taz-friendly Lua script overneath, hitbox, hurtbox, all that jazz. And over here I have, this is Taz Studio. This is how I do Taz's and how stuff works. I'm doing a Taz because it's just ways to explain. I go frame by frame and all that jazz. Don't worry, it's pretty simple to understand. Up here, these are player one's inputs, so like, down, X, all that stuff. And this is for player two, which is case is Mercury. This is player one Chibi. And something else to keep in mind is that when you press the button, let's say I want Mercury press Y, Mercury will then input Y on frame 1426. Now, Sailor Minutes has 3 frames of native input lag, like most Super Nintendo games, because, Super Nintendo has to actually process your input. So that means 1, 2, 3. There we go. Light Punch will actually come out on this frame, 429, even though it was inputted on 426. Just something to keep in mind if you're wondering why inputs don't exactly line up properly. That's why. That's how every Taz works. So, Zam Scam. By the way, if I refer to Chibi as Zam sometimes, that's just slip of the tongue. Everything I lab versus Chibi is effectively labbed to be versus Zam because Zam is by far the best Chibi in the meta. So I just kind of use them interchangeably sometimes. Don't worry too much about it. So the Zam scam, right? Everyone's familiar with it. Chibi does backdash, chains another backdash, and is completely invincible. But I think it's really important to understand what is going on in order for Zam scam to be actually viable. So over here, right, this is the first backdash input that Zam or Chibi does. If you notice, the second backdash input is holding left. And the reason for this is because this actually buffers the backdash to happen on the first possible frame, and thus the backdash will chain and be completely invincible. If you don't hold L here and just say time your backdash manually, if you notice in the game footage, Chibi will not infinite backdash because you missed the small window in order to chain the backdash together. By buffering it by holding L for a minimum for a small amount of frames or a large amount of frames doesn't actually matter. The only way you can actually get way more consistent infinite backdashes. And this is something to really consider because this is how Chibi is doing infinite backdash. This is how Zam is doing infinite backdashes. So this limits the counterplay that you could realistically do because this buffer thing, this is how you're doing every rhythmic motion. You're buffering out double tap back, hold, double tap back, hold. That's how you're doing this. And this limits what you could possibly do. So for instance, the best way to beat backdashing scamming is by jumping over with a cross up. This has been known, I think, by most people, at least at this point. So another thing you can consider about this whole setup, though, is human reaction time, right? So this is the first possible frame you can visually see a difference in Mercury jumping, okay? And let's say Zam reacts to this. First off, human reaction time is like 15 frames. And honestly, it's probably more than that. Because reacting between a screen change from red to green is a lot different than reacting to a sprite change like this and then doing a fighting game input. Honestly, 15 frames is really generous. Most reaction time in an actual match is much higher than that. But whatever, I'll use 15 frames just for the sake of example. So let's see, 15. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I miscounted. It should be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There we go. 15 frames after after visual jump. So that's right around here. I marked it with R. R is just R on the Super Nintendo controller, but it's going to stand for reaction time. So as you can see, this is the area or the frame, approximately, when Chibi can react to like, oh my god, Mercury's jumping over my head. I want you to notice something, though. See this right here? the Chibi, before they could even react, is already buffering out the next backdash. So even though, in theory, the Chibi could say, you know, hold down here and slide out if they had like really frame tight reactions, and this or like they even walk away. This isn't realistic to what's actually happening during a Zam scam because they are buffering the Zam scam like this to get any sort of consistency. So at this point, the next backdash is going to happen even if they could react fast enough. The next backdash is happening, which is why as Mercury, you really want to time the jump right when Chibi is halfway through her backdash arc. So that way you can time it so that the time you're over her, she's over the next arc, which is when the cross-up can occur. So yeah. And this changes per character based on jump heights and whatnot, but this is the area of time you're aiming for. So, okay, at this point, the Chibi is like, okay, backdash is happening, I reacted, Merc's going to hit me with the mix, which in this case is a cross-up. So if you just input another backdash, as you can see here, it'll cross up and Chibi will get hit. And there we go. There goes the end of the backdash chain. And there's another, here as you can see is the intended buffer. However, if Chibi just reacts and realizes, okay, there's a cross up about to happen, I'll switch my rhythm from rhythmically tapping left to rhythmically tapping right. And as you can see, Chibi will then backdash the other direction. How swell. So here's the issue, though. If Mercury does her jump kick, these are Mercury's inputs over here, one frame earlier, jump kick doesn't cross up. And as a result, you get hit. So, honest to God, the Zam scam is a 50-50 unreactable jump and mix cross up if you're just going to continue the backdashing. That's not great. Especially since you don't really get much off of this if you do get it right. You just get to continue the backdash. If you actually do get it right and like backdash the correct direction, you can't do anything out of this. All you can do is just chain another backdash like this, and then Mercury has another shot to do whatever she wants, whether it be press buttons or do another jump in even. And again, do another 50-50 unreactable mix. That's not great. There is one thing you can do as Chibi to cover both options if you want to backdash. But I'm going to go over why that's like not even on the table to consider. Using the wiggle the stick meta, if you're unfamiliar with that, you should really pay attention to the Sailor S meta. But basically what it is that if you do both backdash directions and then hold the opposite direction, you'll actually backdash either way, depending if you're crossed up or not. This is super useful on wake up to basically dodge any left-right cross-ups. So if you do the same philosophy while chaining infinite backdashes, as you can see, all right, sick, we dodged the backdash, and if Mercury actually did cross up, we also dodged the backdash. So two things to realize about this. One, look at these inputs. This is right, right, left, left, frame perfectly mashed between each other, and then holding right. This is not a feasible input for anyone to do on a stick, on a hitbox, on anything. Especially if you had reacting from rhythmically pressing left for like 7 reps or something. This isn't worth considering. Plus, look how frame tight this is. So I'm going to do this one frame earlier, this OS. Guess what happens? Alright, crosses up. The cross up works still. But guess what? She gets hit if it doesn't cross up anymore. Whether the frame this works on for the Chibi Infinite Backdash in particular varies depending on when Mercury jumps, when the A button is pressed for hard kick, so many factors, and it's like a frame 1 or 2 window every time. This is not feasible for anybody to do and imagine should not be considered. So again, if you want to continue infinite backdashing, Chibi, it is a raw 50-50. Make sure you guess right, or else you're going to get hit, or you're going to continue infinite backdash. So that is the facts of Chibi Infinite Zam Scam. But Chibi actually has more options than just backdash again. If you have any familiarity of how Zam plays the game, let's see. This is a frame Chibi's actionable. So 3 frames beforehand. Hit X and R. This frame. There we go. So yeah, Chibi can just anti-air grab you out of this because she's invincible out of her backdash. This is a pretty great option because, well, hey, grab, free 20 damage. There are a couple caveats though. One, this is actually player one only. Only player one can backdash, grab, and be completely invincible. Player two needs to be doing it from a wake-up save, but player one gets it because of port priority. So that's pretty nice. If you ever play Chibi, you want to play port one as a result, because this is crazy powerful, and Zam does abuse the hell out of this. The other problem is that as you saw as I was trying to get this, this is frame perfect. So, hey, that's kind of rough, but that's way better. But this is actually feasible to do. Zam has done this numerous times to me in friendlies, in bracket, and like everything with multiple different characters. Backdash grab is a real thing you should be scared of. And if you are legitimately scared of it, you can just beat it by simply jumping later. By jumping later, it actually means that you're further above Chibi, so if she goes for grab, it won't hit, and thus you get it. This can make the cross-up more or less difficult, or it might not even allow the cross-up to happen for certain characters. Again, depends on the character and when you jump and all that jazz. But hey, this is just a hard call. Like, hey, you're going to try to grab me, I'm going to, completely beat that. And, if they try to grab you, if they can, they might just mess up anyway, because like I said, it's a frame-perfect thing. So yeah, that's the option Chibi has if she's player one. There's also another option Chibi has, which I like to call when in doubt, butt out. If Chibi reacts fast enough, she can actually do a butt out of her backdash, like right here. Okay, so Chibi has reacted. Oh, damn, Mercury's ahead above me. Let's just get out of here. Whee! So, this is pretty good as you slide really far away. And it's really hard to, like, chase Chibi down from this. You might be able to throw a hard punch dirty fireball, maybe. You have to throw that charge as Mercury, so that's a big brain call out there. I don't know exactly. But the problem with this butt is that it's really frame tight. Like, if you do this butt, like, too late, like you see here, I did it, like, 5 frames later, you actually don't go nearly as far when you land, so you can actually get punished pretty easily with most characters. And what's even funnier is that if you do the butt still not at the right time, you actually get crossed up, and you just butt into the corner, and then get hit out of that. And whether or not the butt, like, crosses up or only goes shorter, is based on when Mercury presses jump. So depending on when that happens is what determines whether or not these earlier or later butts actually work, which is pretty funny. But like a butt that does work is like something like this. Like, see, look, this butt doesn't go as far anymore. You have to do a late butt here because Mercury delayed her hard kick by 2 frames. 2 frames. Again, the Mercury is in a lot of control here of when she presses hard kick. And again, this is unreactable. So you're just going to have to be like, okay, I'm going to butt it this time and hope it works out. And in this case, it worked out. Mercury went for this hard kick timing, and you knew it as Chibi and you did a butt out. Good for you. So, what's something really funny is what if Mercury presses jump and light kick? Whoop. So basically what happens here is that Chibi's big head, which is the blue position hitbox, or box or whatever, gets stuck on Mercury's foot in this position box because of the way light kick moves. So she can't cross through her because, you can't walk through characters' position boxes in fighting games usually. So butt gets, like, stuffed, and she just lands right here. And what's really funny is that this actually whiffs on Chibi by 1 pixel, this jumping light kick. So you can just, like, do desperation and just make Chibi eat 72 damage, I'm pretty sure. So that's a hard call out. Not every character can do something like this. Moon for sure can, because her jumping light kick's the same, basically. But other characters might need to know a bit more about, like, where your hurt box and position when you jump in. There's definitely some shenanigans every character has. Feel free to lab it out yourselves. But the point is, even this butt, which is pretty good if you can get it, has counterplay that's hard call out, like this pressing the B button, or counterplay by just, I don't know, delaying A by 2 frames, which is, again, unreactable. And oh, look, don't go as far. So I think what I want to get at here is that Zam Scam is a risk in many aspects because you basically can't react to anything the other player does to try to hit you out of whatever you're going for. And as a result, you kind of put yourself into really bad places. And even if you do win this interaction, the best you get is usually a grab or just continuation of infinite backdash. So it's really rough and not honestly something you should do consistently all the time. It's really just something you could be using as a mix rather than as like your game plan. Because, you know, if you get hard called out, this is going to hurt. So, in conclusion, the best way to combat someone Zam scamming you is just to, well, get good. You numbnuts.